Hey, welcome to ZK MasterTech. We finally made it to the National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville, Kentucky. And I got Donna and the kids with me. You guys ready to see the farm show?
Yeah.
Oh my. Look at that old truck.
Hey, look at that.
Hey. How's this thing work?
It's really good. You should know. You're here today, so.
How's it going?
Great, and you?
I'm good. This is my daughter Zaya, my son Zarek,
Oh, they are just like
and my wife Donnea.
Oh, yeah.
Encantada de conocerlo.
See. So, hi guys.
Yeah, we're doing good. We're just coming here today to walk around and actually see the show.
We'll not be staying in here today. Okay.
We'll be there tomorrow. Yep.
Okay.
These aren't the right color, are they, Zarek? Look at that. These big Fendt tractors.
The 00, like, oh yeah, it's short. They go good though. They're like
Really?
50, 80 bushel out there.
Holy cow.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah, this stuff's the right color. Gotta go look at this combine. Here we go. S790. What do you think of this big combine, Zarek?
I like it.
You like it? You gonna work on one of these someday, Zarek? Maybe? I wish I could fit in there. It's pretty cool. Inloader. Skid steer. Little mini excavator. As far as I know.
I heard Trump saying he's no more death on Thursday.
Well, we'll see. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you for watching. I appreciate the support.
Oh my God.
Oh. You the grain cart driver? You get to go 90 mile an hour all the time? Just bump you forward and back with this Hydra handle.
I've heard about this.
Yeah, you literally don't touch the wheel. A lot of operator fatigue. At the end of the day, when you don't have to worry about hitting each other all day long, you know, when you're unloading on the go, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I have a friend and they swear by it. They run it.
Oh yeah, everybody that's got Harvest Sync loves it. And that same technology works good if you have like two planters in a field. That awesome.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Oh no, they're not even close to competition.
They're starting to pop. We're from Ohio. They're starting to pop up.
Oh really?
Everywhere,
Yeah,
yeah.
in my area, you know, there's a Fendt dealer just like 10 minutes away from my store.
Weekend, and we were coming down the weekend to take him to the Lego store. So,
Well, that worked out.
He probably knew about this already and had it.
I didn't know about it until actually your
He
video.
wants to hang on to the shirt. Okay. Hold on, I gotta get the vice grips in there.
Thanks. Thanks.
This is genius.
Yeah, Astro has a test light.
Awesome.
What's that?
You got it, bro.
Yeah.
I haven't got it.
I got my truck right after I got done with the tech school, so.
There's nothing like being a field tech.
Yeah. I really.
You know, it's good for business.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it allows me to share my passion. And
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though. But yeah, no, you got good videos. It's nice to have.
Yeah, they're working.
You guys work for a dealer?
My son.
All right.
I'm in.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Oh yeah.
Video, and it doesn't matter. You know, we just do it.
They do all their stuff, but I'm just like, don't talk to me. Just leave me alone. Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys. Thank you so. Good.
Nice to meet you. I like watching your videos.
Oh, appreciate that.
Hoping to get a picture with you.
Oh, appreciate that, man.
So, how hard is it to get parts on a 12.5?
On 12.5?
Yeah.
Next day.
Really? I heard a couple people, I went to college down in Saratoga in the ag tech program, and I heard some people say that
Busted it, and it was a red one, and on the light gray shirt.
There you go. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. All right.
you get hot.
There you go.
That's my answer.
Let's get a picture. It's been a good one. Well, I appreciate you watching.
How many videos have you done?
Hey, you know, have you not had enough?
Yeah.
Like, was the whole day of it not enough? Now you're watching videos about it. You know, anyway.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, good deal.
Marvin, nice to meet you, Marvin.
Yeah, just restored in 1957, 420 F John Deere.
Awesome.
It really looks good. I got my clothes from you.
Oh, yeah?
And you're with my granddaughter.
Yeah.
Jocelyn.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We just walked through here and we saw his booth and I said, oh my God, I've got to call you.
I just watched one of the ones this morning.
Oh. Well, there you go.
That's all into the rotor quick enough. Yeah. It makes a difference once you start bringing in a lot more material, you know, so.
You know,
Okay.
so
Give you a little
it's
confidence.
A little confidence, yeah.
Yeah.
So I sit there and watch that and go, oh, shoot, I think I can do that. No, I appreciate you putting that stuff out.
Yeah, no problem. That way we've been.
Yeah, we're pretty close to Canada there.
Oh, really? Awesome. Let's get a picture. K5 Blazer.
It seems like they've gotten so salty though,
Yeah.
price-wise.
Oh man. I mean, it's over 100 grand now for a nice one. It's crazy. And we're back at the shop. So I had a really good time at the National Farm Machinery Show. That was actually my first time ever going to that, and it was a really good time. Man, there's a lot to see. If you ever go there, you definitely need 2 days to walk around to see everything that's there. But I just had one day to walk around. I kind of went through it pretty quickly, but Saturday I set up and got to meet everybody there. Thank you for everybody that came down and met me and bought merch at the table. Thank you for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. And we had a good time, and I loved meeting everybody and setting up there at the Sloan Express booth, and had Eduardo there from Campac. That's the company that makes the feed accelerator, the aftermarket one that we're selling for Sloan Express. So he was there, and it was a good time to meet with him and hang out with him. And right after the show on Saturday, right at 5 o'clock, we we shut down, and then I drove 4.5 hours home, and now we're back at the shop and we're ready to start repairs again. So we got a S790 combine here. This is kind of a filler project before I get the big 9RX 640 hauled in here. You guys may have seen it on the channel before. Uh-oh. We got wigglage. See that? That whole pinion's moving. I went out there and the rear tracks were not powered anymore, and we got an issue with the ring and pinion in the rear axle of that 9RX 640. So that tractor is actually getting hauled in tomorrow, and we're going to be bringing it in here and tearing into that. So in the meantime, I got this S790 here that has a discharge beater bearing that has left the chat. Oh man. She gone.
She gone.
I told you it left the chat. It's gone. It's actually caught the wiring harness on fire underneath it. I don't think it's too bad. I think we'll be able to repair the wiring, but the bearing is no longer with us. It's completely gone. And we've already got the belt and the pulley off of it, and we're getting ready to pull the hub off the left side so we can get to those bearings. So we'll replace the right and left hand bearing, and I'll show you guys how I get it done. All right, I got Isaiah helping us today, aka 12 gauge. So I got the Milwaukee underbody light right here illuminating the situation, and we borrowed Ben's fancy dancy snap-on hydraulic puller because we're getting ready to pull this hub off the shaft so we can get to the bearing. So give her the beans.
Give her the beans.
You just make sure this is tight right here.
Pump
and
it.
Start pumping. We'll put some pressure on it. This might be one of those pop goes the weasel situations.
Pop goes the weasel.
Woo! So now you just take the pressure off that, and we'll take that off, and then we'll take the nut the rest of the way off and just pull it off by hand.
Here you go, sir.
Get that pull off. Hey, look at our bearing. Oh man. She gone.
She gone.
I told you it left the chat. It just left the chat. And down here, I noticed that wiring harness is melty. So we're gonna have to look into that. I don't see anywhere else where it got burnt. It's just that one little spot right there. So that's good. So next we're gonna have to get that lock collar off. So I got the lock collar off. I picked the shaft up with a ratchet strap to get it off those flanges. We're gonna remove the nuts. So the nuts want to spin on us, of course. So if you stick a trim stick behind it, hold the bolt, then you can get the nut off.
Full bearing delete.
Yeah, it is a full bearing delete, Ian. She was just riding on the flange.
I'm not sure how hear or feel that, but
Sometimes you don't. I've actually ran combines and I didn't feel any vibration because it's not jumping or bouncing, and it's just sitting there riding on the flange. And then I'd inspect it and then see the bearing's completely gone. I'm like, I can't believe I didn't feel that. So sometimes they just run smooth on the riding flange.
the only reason I caught it is having to see that harness below it.
Yeah.
To me it looked like mostly just the loom, but
I don't think it's gonna be too bad getting it out, but half the battle is getting the bearing off, and the outer race and everything's already gone. So just have to cut the inner race and drive it off, and we'll be good to go. See there? Well, it did have the outer race in there still.
so
A little piece of it.
you have these bearings go out, do you, I guess I'm not sure how long the other side typically lasts. I always change the.
Well, I always try to do both at the same time.
That's what I've always done.
Yeah.
But
I mean, in the heat of battle, if you just have one side go out, I mean, if the other side still looks good, then you can probably get away with it, because usually it only takes out the drive side. Very rarely does just the right side go out.
I don't know if I've ever seen the right side like completely out.
Yeah, but if you got the time, you might as well do the right side. But if you're trying to get something up and running ASAP, you can just do the left side if that's what's out.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It didn't burn the grease hose that much. I think we could save on that. So, I don't even see, it didn't catch on fire around the bearing. It must have just dropped a hot ember down into where that harness is.
Yeah.
Because there's no burnt mark or nothing. And it didn't get into the side sheet of the machine. It just rode on the flanges. So you caught it just in time, Ian.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. You know, we're gonna have to video your new truck sometime. Ian got a brand new crane truck.
It's pretty empty, but.
Is it a 26?
24 actually.
Oh, it's a 24, but it's brand new. It's
Brand new. It had 200 hours.
or 200 miles, you mean?
Or yeah.
You're so used to hours. And it's a 24 Chevrolet 6500, right? Well, it's got the nap hide crane body on it. So we'll have to take a look at that sometime.
Yes, sir.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna cut through this race a little bit. Now I gotta cut through. Now we're gonna try to turn it. Okay. Now let's see if I can get it to turn. It turned. Come on. Man. Already took a huge chunk off the bearing and it's still not wanting to come off. Try a little heat. Alright. Now that I got it, I cut it all the way through 180 degrees away from the first cut. Now it seems like it'll just come right off there, doesn't it? Yeah. Man, oh man. There it is. Boy, that one. Wow. That was a stubborn one. Heat, double cut. Took a huge chunk off of it. I mean, look at the chunk I took off that thing. Trying to get it to turn. And then when I finally cut it there, you can see it finally split. See the crack all the way through the housing right here? Mm-hmm. See, I cut it so far I didn't go all the way through to the shaft. Almost. Then you hit it with the air hammer and then it cracked it. Then you can see how loose it got after that. So we got a new flange and new bolts put in place. Got the shaft cleaned up. He's pushing that bearing into place. See, now when you shove it into that flange, see how it holds the shaft where it needs to be?
Yep.
Now you can take your ratchet strap off. It shouldn't go nowhere. Okay. Now we can thread that lubrication hose onto our new outer flange. So we grease the extension right here, and that hose comes up to here. We got the lock collar and everything on. We make sure that the grease goes through the bearing and not squeeze out the flanges. So we got that all back together. So now all we got to do is put the keyway back in, shove our hub on, torque that on, and then put our pulley on, and then we're gonna replace the belt as well because it's split. Got the hub slid on there, and I'll put the nut on. And just high torque that baby on. Grab the hub with one hand. Yep. So now we're on the right side here. I took the tone wheel lock collar off here. So this one, we're actually gonna have to get the flanges off and get the shaft cleaned up. And then we'll have to cut through the outer race and just get it busted off there, because these, we got to get down to where we can cut this inner race so we can get this inner race and bearing off. So we're going to do a little bit more cutting on this side. Now that we got the outer flange off, we're going to make 2 cuts on here. We're going to cut through the flange and through the bearing right here and right here with the cutoff wheel. And then we're going to get this flange pried out of there, and we'll get the outer race cut through enough to where we can pry it off, and then it'll drop down on that inner race, and then we can cut through the inner race, get it to turn, and then pull it off. All right, now that we got 2 cuts through there, we can start air hammering. Oh, it's turning. I'll clean up this shaft. See if we can get this thing off. Oh, it's wanting to go already. I got Isaiah lifting up on it on the inside. Got it. We'll clean this shaft all up real good. Put new inner flange and bolts on. But now I'm going to show Isaiah how to cheat. So the cheat is we're going to use these M12 push nuts. Here's the part number. H143731. Okay, don't forget that. You'll want to write this down in your notebook. You just take the old push nut, slide it onto your bolt, just push it on quite a ways down. Push them down where it's going to fit tight. Then you just slip them in the hole. Hold it. You take a 13 mil socket and just kind of push that down. So if you take a nut and run it down. Now that bolt is captured right there, and it won't go nowhere. Then it makes that, do that on all 4, and that makes that a lot easier to get your bearing and your flanges and everything in and out, and you don't have to fight the bolts falling out. Now that I got all the nuts positioned where they need to be, now we can slide our inner flange on, and we don't have to worry about the bolts pushing through and falling into there. Put our new bearing on. There we go. Lift up. There we go. Good? Yep. Since this side didn't go out, I just reuse these outer flanges so I don't have to transfer the sensor and everything. You know, this bearing was still fitting tight and everything, so it won't hurt nothing to put that back on like that. So I showed Isaiah the hard way to do it, and then I showed him the easy way to do it.
Yeah.
Just so you know. Tighten the set screw. Done.
Done.
And we got a new belt on there because when I was looking at this one, there was a big split in it, of course. So now's the time to put a belt on. So Isaiah got to see how much fun it is to get one of those belts on, because you got to take this inner chopper belt, because the discharge beater belt is right in between. So you got to get this belt off and around, and then get the discharge beater around the chopper jack shaft pulley here. And now that we got the belt routed, I can tension it, and then we'll put the shield in there. The shield of doom. There's a shield that goes in here, and there's a bunch of hoses that mount to it and stuff. It's kind of a pain. All right, looking into the wiring that got a little toasty here. Looks like I got a few wires that I'm gonna have to cut the bat out and splice in new here. 3 or 4 wires here. I think these bigger ones down here are okay. They just got stuff melted onto them, but these actually, some of these actually burnt into the insulation, so I'm gonna get those repaired. And it's like it never happened. So I just cut each bad section of wire out and just spliced in a new section of wire, and then I got them all fixed, and then I wrapped them up with electrical tape, and then I wrapped it in new wire loom. Test run. Beautiful. My tractor has arrived. So I got breaking news. So not only do we need to fix whatever's wrong with the rear axle on this thing, we have to install a wide stance axle kit on this thing. So we're going to be taking it from a narrow track frame to a wide track frame. So we're putting on this really super high dollar, it's like $28,000 for this kit to widen out the tracks. So we're going to be doing it on the front. So not only are we going to be taking the entire rear end apart and put back together, we're also going to be taking the front track frames off and putting axle extensions in to get this thing to a wide track frame. So it's going to be a good time. But the first thing that I want to do, I want to do a little bit more investigating on this rear end. So I want to get the oil drained, and I want to get the pinion, the U-joint off the pinion, get that unbolted. And I want to get my bore scope and look up through the drain hole in the axle and see what we can see what's going on inside there. Also, I'd like to get the rear tracks off the ground so we can manually turn that pinion and look up in there with the bore scope and just, see what we're dealing with, because I got a feeling this is going to be one of the largest projects that I've ever videoed on the channel. So tighten your seat belts, get you a cold snack. This is going to be a good one. Okay, first thing, we're going to drop the oil on this rear axle here. Hopefully I don't hear any giant chunks hit the pan. I'm going to need a rag too, Holmes.
Gotcha.
Here we go. Oh no! Here we go. Oh no! I heard it. I heard something hit. Why is there hardly any oil coming out? What is happening? Why is there nothing?
High blockage.
That's what I'm afraid of.
You need something to stick up in there?
I don't have much oil coming out of my rear axle. It should just be rushing out. And I heard something metallic hit the pan. Oh, yes. Oh, man, I see stuff. Hold on. Hold on. We gotta get the Metal Checker 9000 in this situation here.
Tell me your secrets.
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
Hold on. There's like a big chunk. Okay, here we go. Look at that. That's a good sliver. Why is there no oil in this rear axle? There's more metal. There's no oil pumping to this rear axle, or what is going on? More metal. This is not good. This is looking bad. Oh man, this is gonna get expensive. All right, so I took the side plate off here, showing the drive shaft and the pinion. Look at the pinion bolt. It is backed out like half an inch. Oh boy. Okay, let's see if we can get this shaft off of here. Oh. Yeah. I win. Come on. Okay, let you down. Look at that bolt.
Oh my God.
Yeah. You can just pull it out. That is not good. Oh, dude. Dude! We have the tracks on the ground and I can spin this pinion.
I think yeah.
Holy crap, dude.
You think it's broke?
I don't know what we're gonna find. You can just see how loose that bearing is. But look, nothing.
It shouldn't be free spinning like that.
No, it shouldn't free spin at all. Oh my gosh. Patty! Patty's gonna take a look at this. First, take a look at the pinion bolt. Okay?
You didn't loosen that?
No. Now grab the pinion and turn it. Look, Ben. Or you go.
Well, the bolt's loose. That's
Just,
why.
just turn the pinion. Keep going.
No. Well,
Turn. Keep going. Keep going, Patty.
does it ever stop?
No. It free spins.
Yeah, baby.
Every tooth gone.
Oh, that's too bad.
You can just free spin the pinion and the tracks are on the ground.
Oh my.
And look at the amount of oil that's in the pan. That's all that came out of the axle. Are you speechless, Patty?
I want to take the pinion. That bolt just loosened. That's fine. That's not even broke.
I guess you could turn it and slide it out.
Never been able to do that.
I have never had a pinion turn like that. Like there's nothing even hitting.
Well,
It's either all the teeth are sheared completely off or the pinion shaft is snapped in half inside of the input housing. That's the only thing that makes sense.
can't say I've ever seen that before.
I haven't either.
The only time I've ever seen that is on a car rear end, but
Yeah.
it takes a lot of pressure to break that.
Yeah, it does.
This unit.
But why is there no oil in the axle? Why?
Yeah, that's kind of got me concerned too.
Why and how? Where'd it go? Where is it? The reservoir's full.
Why is it not getting lubed?
I don't know.
I don't know, Marco.
Wasn't talking to you.
I just thought you had to see a pinion turn like that.
Can you look up in the rear end?
I'm gonna try to bore scope it, but the way that hole is, it's not very ideal for bore scoping. We'll see.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Huh.
It's hard to see, isn't it?
It's really shiny. Like, it's got a glitter to it.
The bottom of the year it goes to.
I pulled some metal out.
What's crazy to me is it snapped the rear end before it broke a U-joint.
Yeah.
Or did it?
Well, these U-joints are...
They don't feel that bad.
I could feel the grease in there
Almost
without
wonder if
feeling
there's
the
a
grease.
defect in that pinion or something.
Something. Lack of lubrication. Just made it self-destructo.
Heat, speed, and pressure.
That's a new one.
But you'd think I would have got a lot more metal out of the bottom than that. If all the teeth were sheared off.
Well, where do you get in there?
Yeah.
Try and scope it.
I'm going to try. So I'm going to start it up with that plug out of the axle, and we're going to see if we're getting any oil pumped to this rear axle or not. Patty's going to watch. Ready, Patty?
Give her the beans.
Is the pan under it?
Yeah.
Anything coming out? Nothing?
Give her, go a little bit higher than idle.
More? I think that's just that PTO making that noise.
Yeah, but normally they quiet down when you go over idle.
Oh, and now it's dribbling a little. But it should have been just like rushing oil out. Nothing, just a dribble.
The stream got thinner.
Dude, this is crazy. That makes me concerned about literally everything. Axles, transmission, all of the above.
The stream got thicker.
It got thicker?
Yeah. And it got more. Why is it getting more oil than when not running?
I don't know. That's something else. Alright, so we're gonna drain the front axle because we ain't getting no axle lube on the back. I want to see how much is in the front. Well, see, that's a lot better. I didn't hear anything metallic hit the ground. Well, I don't feel any metal or anything in there, but we definitely got a heck of a lot more out of the front than we did the back. Just got the bore scope up in there as good as we can get it. I'm kind of far away, so it's hard to see, but spin that pinion, you can see. I know it's probably hard to tell on camera, but I could tell that there's no teeth left on the pinion, and we could turn the pinion and the ring gear does nothing, and it just looked like it was smooth on the pinion gear. But I don't know where all those chunks of teeth went. I can't really see it in the bottom of the pan. I don't know what the heck's going on. So I'm snapped onto the rear axle lube pressure DR. Patty's gonna fire it up. We'll see. Yeah. Nothing. Shut it off. Now we're going to move to the front. Right now we're snapped onto the front axle lube DR. Uh-oh. Three PSI, Patty. So we took this big shield off the side so we could drain the hydraulic reservoir, and I'm getting ready to pull the screens out of this thing. That's a long screen. Let's see what we got here. Ooh. Oh my. Oh boy. That is a big screen. What do we got inside here? Hello. Ooh. Boy. That doesn't look good. Oh boy. Give me some rags. So I stuck my shop ready rags from New Pig in there, and they pick up metal really well. And 3 rags, and I was able to get the whole bottom of the reservoir clean, but it's the whole bottom of the reservoir was just metal. This is not good. And the screen's got, you know, metal poopies all over it too. So now what we need to do is we need to get the final drives drained too, because they get axle lube pressure from the same place that the axles do. And I'm going to explain the whole, once I figure out what's going on with this thing, I'll explain everything in full, what I think actually happened to this tractor, because we're going to get a diagnosis first before, you know, we go in and repair anything. But we're going to get the final drives drained now. So we drained the final drives, and there wasn't a whole lot in them, but the oil was clean. There was no metal coming out. So now we're taking the axle lube filter off right here. We're going to see what's inside of that. So we cut that axle lube filter open, and it doesn't look that bad. It's just got some dark sludgy stuff in it, you know, but it's really not that bad. That makes me think we're not getting any oil pumped to this filter. So we clean these screens up in the solvent tank, and these screens clean up pretty dang nice. Like, we wouldn't even need to replace that. You got that one? Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put these screens back in here. I can get this started in the hole where it needs to go without dropping O-rings everywhere. Gotta feel it. It's gotta go in this hole, maybe. So this screen right here is what the axle lube pump is sucking from. And it was clean, so it ought to be able to suck oil. I got the screens back in. We're gonna get this reservoir full of oil, and then we're gonna fire it up without the axle filter on and just see if we get any oil coming out. So it took 124 quarts to get it filled up to there. Takes a lot of oil just to fill it up to the full cold line just in the reservoir. So we're gonna fire this thing up now with this filter completely off, and we're gonna see what happens. All right, fire it up.
Fire in the hole.
Nothing. All right, shut it off.
Only peeing on the ground?
Not even a drip came out. All right, so now I'm pretty sure I have a pretty solid diagnosis on what's going on with this tractor. There's only one thing that explains it, and I'm going to show you my diagnosis. All right, so here we're looking at the tractor and the axle lube circuit, okay? So it starts right here. This is the hydraulic reservoir. Here's that skinny screen that I put in there. And then on the back side of this reservoir, there's a hose that goes right into like a 90-degree fitting that goes right into that screen. So we suck oil through that screen, and then we bring it right up to here. So this pump right here, there's 4 pumps in a stack. And this pump right here is our axle lube pump. And this pump right here is our front scavenge pump. What I believe is wrong is the shaft, or the splines in the shaft, for whatever reason, is sheared right here, to where these 2 pumps are working because, you know, we have hydraulics and steering and all that stuff, but we do not have axle lube pressure. And I believe we do not have the front scavenge pump, because when we drained the front axle, it was full of oil. So in this system, we have one dedicated axle lube pump, and then we have a dedicated scavenge pump for the front, which is right here. And then we have a dedicated scavenge pump for the rear. With this one has a PTO. So the scavenge pump is at the very front of the PTO right here. And that is where we're scavenging oil from the rear of the axle. So this system is a dry sump system, okay? It doesn't have a wet sump. So we're pushing axle lube pressure to the axles for brake cooling and axle lube, and our axle lube is being pushed to our final drives. This is not showing a 4-track model, but it's showing the axle lube circuit correctly, okay? So we bring the oil in here to this pump, to the axle lube pump, and then it discharges out the top and runs down this red line right here. Now I'm going to show you this next picture. It's correct in the fact of how the filters look, but this one has no PTO, so it just has a scavenge pump coming out of the back of the transmission, which doesn't matter right now for explanation. So we come out of the top of the axle lube pump, we come down here to the filter, okay, and then it goes into the filter, and then it splits into 2 places. So the blue line here is going to the front axle, and then this line here is coming out to the rear axle. So that's how the front and rear gets its axle lube. It splits it right here. Also, there's a valve inside here that's regulating the pressure to 60 to 70 psi as well. So when we had this filter off right here, we should be getting pressure from this pump, and it should just be dumping out the filter, but we didn't even get a drip, okay? And I can hear the rear scavenge pump cavitating because we don't have any oil in the rear axle, okay? So I believe the rear scavenge pump is working. It's pulling oil out of the rear axle and dumping it back into the reservoir, but we're not putting any oil back in. That's why when we drain the oil, we only got the residual amount that's just below the sump line, which this is the scavenge pump line, which goes right into the side of the case, but it's not at the absolute bottom. So I believe the oil we drained out was just a little bit that's left at the bottom of the rear axle. So my diagnosis is this pump stack right here is bad, and I believe something is broken right here, and we lost axle lube and the front scavenge pump. So if we ran the rear axle with no lube long enough, it would actually, there's so much pressure on those pinion teeth. If we're not lubricating those pinion teeth, it would shear those teeth off. So I believe that's what happened. We lost axle lube pressure. The rear suffered because the rear scavenge pump was still working, so it sucked this whole entire axle dry. But the front didn't fail because it still had the residual oil in it because it wasn't getting sucked out because that scavenge pump on the front wasn't working. So that is my initial diagnosis, and I guess we're just gonna have to dig into this thing and see what's going on, but that's what I believe happened. So my game plan for this project here is we need to get the axle lube problem fixed first, because that's what caused the rear end to fail. and I don't want to have everything apart all at once. So what I want to do is, in order to get to this pump stack, we're actually going to have to remove the cab. So we're going to remove the cab, get in, we're going to replace that pump stack, and then get it all back together, and then we're going to verify that we have axle lube pressure at the front and rear axles. So we get that problem solved. We probably need to look into that rear scavenge circuit, make sure that the metal contamination is all gone out of that circuit as well. I think the pump's working, it's okay, but we might want to take the lines off and just see if there's any contamination in those hoses and lines and stuff. Once we get the lube pressure back, then we can tear into the repair of the rear differential. And it's going to be quite the job because the fuel tanks are 3/4 full. So we'll have to drain the fuel out of the tanks, take the fuel tanks off. We're going to have to remove the PTO, the SEV stacks, track frames, final drives. Then we'll be able to remove the center section for the rear differential, tear into that, and recondition the ring and pinion and set the rear end and all that stuff. So I think it's probably going to be a 3-video ordeal getting this thing repaired. But also remember what I told you, once we get this all fixed, when we're going back together with the rear, we got to start putting the wide stance kit on this thing too. So that's going to take some time as well. So this is going to be like a month-long project for me. Plus, you know, I don't know how much I'm going to get called out in the meantime. So if I were to be working on this thing, it's going to be probably a 100-hour project or so at least. So it's going to be quite the adventure on this one, and I'm going to try to make it as short as possible, but it's going to be a very long project, and I'm thinking it's going to be at least 3 videos, maybe 4. So get yourself a large refrigerator full of cold snacks and sit back and watch. The next month of ZK MasterTech is going to be absolutely on fire, and you guys are not going to want to miss it. So that's going to be the end of this video. I want to thank everybody that came to the National Farmer Show to meet me. I know I wasn't able to video everybody that I met there. I just had my daughter picking up my phone and videoing whenever she could. So I did the best I could with what my daughter videoed. So if I missed you at the beginning here where I showed the National Farm Machinery Show, I apologize. I tried to get everybody in there, but I was kind of limited to whatever video my daughter took that day. So thank you if I missed you. Appreciate everyone. And until next time, keep that green iron moving.